Congratulations, big win, national television, right? The kind of thing you arrive, you make your imprint on America. Not on this show, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is not an East Coast bias thing. We can be clear about that, right? It's not because, like, the game was late and some of us...
I didn't say that to explain it. I was just giving them a shout-out. Like,
Shout-out to them, then.
What do they think it's an East Coast bias, man? What they going to do? They don't go watch the games out there. They need to be glad I watch them on TV.
Shout-out to Philip Rivers' 9th child on the way, by the way.
Anybody ask his wife how she feels about this?
I assume it's great. First name, Mike McCarthy. Just hours after losing at home to the Arizona Cardinals, foe, the coach of the Packers was fired. So is it clear to you now that the future will be brighter for the Packers after this move?
No, I mean, maybe it will be. Sometimes time is up. Sometimes it's time to make a move. And that sometime to make a move is when your season's already gone in a disappointing fashion. There's about 20,000 people who did not come to your perpetually packed stadium. And you lost as a 13.5-point favorite. All those things come together with you getting fired before you even make it to your car. Them's the breaks.
Yeah, there was a lot of lame duck going on here. And this, after losing a game that was like the worst upset loss in 51 years, a game that had Aaron Rodgers in terms of number of passes and number of yardage only better than Nathan Peterman. Like, this is a game where, like, yeah, this was duck hunt if Mike McCarthy was just going to stay there and just the kind of duck hunt with, like, the gun all the way up on the screen, because this was obvious. Everyone was just going to take shots at him from now on. At the very least now, they can go and interview, I don't know, Lincoln Riley because of that break, or Cliff Kingsbury, or anybody because they can get a jump start on him.
That's like anybody, right? Everybody's talking about, like, you go hire Lincoln Riley. I think Lincoln Riley's too smart to leave for the NFL right now. There is no job better than the one that he has that anybody in the NFL has to offer him, especially when you consider we got to figure out what we got with Aaron Rodgers, because he has not played well this year, and some of those things are independent of Mike McCarthy. Josh Allen, let me get that. I got it on the card. Josh Allen and Sam Darnold are two of the only guys that have more off-target throws than him this year. By the way, Tom Brady, third. When you look at passes behind the line of scrimmage, he's between Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. Like, maybe some of that has to do with the bad wheel. I don't know. Some of that has to do with the scheme. I don't know. But we have to come to terms with the fact Aaron Rodgers has been pedestrian, and that sort of thing will get you fired as the head coach if Aaron Rodgers just signed an extension. Now, maybe Lincoln Riley's the guy to unlock Aaron Rodgers, but I think people probably need to set their sights on something more likely to happen.
But my feeling on how you approach Aaron Rodgers, who is a sunk cost at this point, they have all this money with him. He is 35 as of yesterday. It was his birthday. Like, at the very least, I think you have to treat him like he is LeBron James. Treat him like a guy you consult about this, because as he goes, this team more or less goes, right?
Well, of course they're going to, because, I mean, he's still the quarterback of this team. They're still built around him. The Lions consult, what's his name, Matthew Stafford, when they hire head coach. So, yes, absolutely, they're going to consult Aaron Rodgers. The thing, though, this league believes that you need to make your head coach the offensive guy. No, they have a job for that already. It's called offensive coordinator. Like, if you find the right offensive coordinator, you can make this thing happen. Peyton Manning, when the Super Bowl came for him the first go-round, how was this done? With Tony Dungy as the head coach, you don't have to make everything about the quarterback. But, yeah, job one for being offensive coordinator for the Packers is, do you get along with Aaron Rodgers, which, oh, by the way, not the easiest job.
No, not the easiest job. And, yeah, if you're looking for that next genius offensive coordinator head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, just make sure he's the guy.
Well, that's
the next McVay. That's the label already being tagged on.
Oh, Kingsbury? How can he be? How can he be the next genius head coach if he got fired at Texas Tech? How does that make any sense?
That's the label. Just saying.
Kareem Hunt is the next name. After being cut by the Chiefs once TMZ video emerged of the running back pushing and shoving a woman, Hunt told ESPN's Lisa Salters that he was, quote, in the wrong, unquote, and that he would say, quote, I am sorry for my actions that night, unquote, to the woman in the video. Pablo, what's been your reaction to all we've learned about this story over the weekend?
So obviously Kareem Hunt had to go. He had to be cut. That is the right move. But the complexity here, Bomani, stems from something more fundamental. It stems from the idea that the NFL has committed to this idea that women are a protected class of citizens when it comes to off-the-field violence. I agree with that position, but it demands proactive behavior, and the NFL is one of the most reactive corporations in American life. So it's this idea that, hey, you want to make good on that pledge to care about women, you got to do stuff that the actual real-life police aren't doing. You need to do stuff that actual real-life judges aren't doing. You have to act with clarity and decisiveness and this sort of public positioning that we do not respect of the actual justice system. So all of which is to say that when you don't interview Kareem Hunt yourself, when you outsource that to the Chiefs, it becomes really hard to claim that you're trying to act like the police or like the justice system, as complicated as that is.
But look, they did this to themselves. Now, of course, right, everything there is to say about Kareem Hunt, what he did was wrong. There really isn't too much compelling to discuss outside of that. Should he have been released, especially if he lied to the Chiefs? Absolutely. Now, there's a larger discussion to be had about the way that people want a zero-tolerance policy that doesn't help anybody because they want to show how tough they are on these matters. And that's how the NFL got themselves in this trouble, because when Roger Goodell took this job, he decided he wanted to tell everybody how tough he was on all matters. And what he did was decide that he and his authority were, in fact, larger than the law, that they were going to do more than the law did on a number of things. That includes matters of violence against women, right? They decided they were going to do that. The law struggled to figure out what to do with that, but this big organization that for years has told us they could find out anything they wanted about guys going into the draft and everything else, they couldn't figure out how to get their hands on this videotape. In fact, the Chiefs, as has been reported, wanted to find the videotape, and the league said, no, don't worry about this. And the problem the NFL has and is continuing to have is they don't have any credibility, and their lack of credibility is because of the way they do and do not handle these situations. It looked like they cared so much about busting Ezekiel Elliott that they ignored what evidence might have been there. In this case, they seemed so invested in not finding out the truth that they didn't even bother to seek that stuff out. Credibility is like insurance. You don't need it until you do. And I think they look as bad in this as anybody else does just because it demonstrates how weak they are in spite of their projections of strength.
Because that video is fascinating to me, because the reason why the NFL, Bo, didn't go full bore into investigative mode, why they didn't pay for the video like presumably TMZ paid for it, the reason is because the last 10 months. We had 10 months between that story first coming out in February about there being pushing and shoving involving Kareem Hunt and a woman in a hotel room in Cleveland. For 10 months, this was not a story. Only when the video was released on TMZ.com did this become a story, because the NFL wants to read the public reaction. From that perspective, from the cynical perspective, I get why they don't do it. But you got to be credible, as you say, in order to actually make that excuse work.
The issues that's going to come up here is to show how tough they are. Looking at what happened to Ray Rice, it's a good chance the way they do it is by making it such that Kareem Hunt does not come back. And I'm telling you, zero tolerance is not going to work the way people think it does. It's going to make it less likely that people come forward and actually endanger more people than it helps.
Very, very complicated. But the last name, the college football playoff. After Jalen Hurts led Alabama to a dramatic victory over Georgia, the college football Final Four was announced yesterday. We got Alabama versus Oklahoma and Clemson versus Notre Dame. So did they get this right?
I don't care. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm not sure. The problem is this committee has never bothered to tell us what is the fundamental question that it wishes to answer in this. Are they looking for the best team, or are they looking for the team that had the best season? Those are not necessarily the same thing. No. You can come up with different answers as a result. But look, man, we have a 12 to 13 game season that 100-something teams wind up playing, and they play at different schedules and everything else. There is no good way to figure this out. There will never be a good way to figure this out. Your beloved playoff has demonstrated it is not a good way to figure this out. I'm not going to get my mind all wrapped up in the difference between 4 and 5.
But this is not only difficult, it's something that they have no incentive to solve, because the debate as such grows out of a lack of clarity around definitions. This is true of stuff like the Hall of Fame. It's true of the most valuable player, all of these awards that we never define because we like the ensuing argument about it. In the defense of this committee, though, there are at least 2 criteria that they did settle on that have been consistent since the playoff became a thing in 2014. Number 1, if you got 2 losses, you are out. So sorry to Georgia, despite all of the stuff that happened in that wonderful game. The second thing is, if you get blown out by multiple scores by a nothing team, then you are 2 out, because that's Ohio State, of course, and Purdue. But now we get to this game, Bo. Like, the Georgia-Alabama thing, what do you take away from that game? What do you take away from the fact that that was interesting?
What do I take from that? You don't get to say a word about that game, Captain Hyde Mason or whatever it was right now. This ain't your time right now. Jalen Hurts, way to go, way to come back. Way to get that thing going. Stay over there, homie. Look at this. Look, the thing about Hurts and why I actually think this story is really worth looking at is he stayed in large part because he said he was going to graduate in the fall. It didn't serve him to leave school. Where I felt bad for him in all of this was not that he shouldn't have been benched, because he should have. He was not an adequate passer. disaster. People treated him as though there was never any chance that he could possibly improve. That dude was Offensive Player of the Year in the SEC as a freshman, and then got his chance to come in there. And one reason to consider staying at a school is people get hurt all the time, B. Every day.
Yes,
and he got his chance and took it.
And after the game, we had Nick Saban getting choked up talking about Jalen Hurts, and it felt sincere, Bo. I view Nick Saban as the guy who complained about losing a week of recruiting when he won the national title, but the dude played this whole saga correctly every step because it worked out cinematically, symmetrically.
But not even working it out, there wasn't much for Saban to do. Either the dude was going to stay or he was going to go. And he chose to stay, and it worked out well for him. That didn't have anything to do with anybody else's case, but it worked out well for him that he wound up staying. I just want to note that as you went so hard to reach that you got to kind of Asian that he then got hurt. Coming up next, Giannis threatens a groin punch.
I love podcasts like High Noons and Bomani's and the one I do every morning for you people. Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase.
Also, honorable mention, Baltimore Ravens. You don't make the show, but that's 3-0 with Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco updating that LinkedIn page.
Yeah, and John Harbaugh probably feeling better about the temperature of his seat, right?
He should check his LinkedIn page, too.
Ooh. First quote. You called me a bleep, though. I'll catch you. Trust me, I'll catch you. Guaranteed. Said Bills defensive end Jerry Hughes to what USA Today says appears to be referee Roy Ellison. It is worth noting, Bo, that in 2013, Ellison was suspended one game after Washington's Trent Williams alleged Ellison called him a, quote, garbage-ass, disrespectful mother bleeper, end quote. Let's watch how this went down. Everybody.
I'll catch you, guaranteed.
Yeah? Yeah, he's heated.
Everyone is giving him distance.
Yeah. Like, once they got him away from the problem, then you get away from the problem.
Yeah, so what do you make of this?
I mean, I got to say, if the ref did call him that, that is typically the reaction that is generated by calling somebody such a thing, especially somebody who is not in a position to exact violence upon you. They can only discuss hypothetical violence that we all know is never going to come. But if this dude has had an incident like this before, like, what is he doing? Like, what exactly is he going for here?
Right, and this is complicated by the fact that after the game, well, let's listen to Jerry Hughes get hit by that Men in Black neuralizer.
What caused the anger? I mean,
What's anger? Who was angry?
Yours.
I was angry. Going after an official after a game. What sparked that?
Who did?
Unique. You.
I did.
Yeah.
I did what?
We saw you go up to the official.
What did I say? If I did go up to the official, what did I say?
I have video that shows you saying
I would love to see the video.
You were referencing he called you.
Yeah, I would love to see the video.
That did not happen that way?
I would love to see the video.
That's brilliant. Notably, only asking questions, no actual on-the-record denial, Bobani. That was a veteran move by him.
Brilliant. I just want to see the video. You got the video? How nobody had a video?
Check the deposition. I said nothing.
The
actual event.
Brilliant. They're going to find him, and some fines you just got to pay.
Yes.
Next quote. Shut the bleep up. Said Bill Belichick, the Vikings receiver Adam Thielen, after Thielen took issue with Patriots safety Patrick Chung, seeming to milk an injury in an effort to buy time for his team to throw the challenge flag. Let us watch.
The 4th and 1.
Oh, wow. He came straight to Belichick for it. Yo, that's a bold move. That's a real bold move.
You don't see this Belichick very often.
Well, also, you don't see anybody doing that to Bill Belichick.
Right.
Like, what was Thielen even thinking?
I don't know, but I am greatly in favor of it, Bomani, because there is some weird, funny stuff in the visual of Adam Thielen and Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick getting mad at Adam Thielen, kind of like me getting mad at Patrick Chung, right? Like, probably been on his radar for a time, probably has some fondness for him that truly hasn't been stated yet, but,
well, that's the thing. Like, let's check Adam Thielen out after the game, because apparently he also got it back together after the game, a la Jerry Hughes.
Yeah, obviously I got to keep my cool. He's got a lot of respect for him and what he's done, and like I said, let the emotions get the best of me, because it's a smart football play. If you are in that situation, why not? It's not cheating.
That's the thing, man. You got to understand, every NFL player gets to a point, man, when you look around and you're like, Why they don't want me, man, right? Like you just get to a place, you started with one team, now you're going to another, and you always hope that there'll be one team that'll give you a chance. And I feel like sometime between that argument and that interview, Adam Thielen realized this right here is a bridge I should not burn. This is a bridge that many of my people have gone across, and it has brought us great things. My bad, Bill Belichick.
Adam Thielen in 2013 was an undrafted wide receiver who got workouts from only two teams, the Panthers and the Vikings. Bill Belichick has been kicking himself for.
Well, actually, that's what I was about to say. Maybe the issue is actually Adam Thielen is kind of insulted as he looks around and sees these other cats they've been bringing in, and you ain't want to call me?
Right.
Like, he might have been his whole thing the whole way. They're like, yo, you're not looking like you're going to be drafted. I'm cool. I know somebody's going to come pick me up. And then he looked up, and Bill Belichick never called him.
Patrick Chung, by the way, Chinese-Jamaican. Shout out to you.
Those aren't uncommon, by the way.
I know. It's fantastic. Oh, yeah. I'm going to punch him in his nuts next time. Said Giannis Antetokounmpo when asked about Mario Hezonja of the Knicks stepping over him after a dunk. Let's watch the play.
Hezonja drives it. My buddy Shannon sat next to Jim Dolan for this game.
Really?
Wow. Hezonja. Oh, and he's asking the crowd to get into it. I mean, it was an impressive play.
It totally was. Giannis, by the way, almost does block this after being not at all in the frame.
Came late, man. Like, we don't need another hero, baby. I spent my whole life trying not to get dunked on, all the way to the point of not playing basketball anymore.
But hold on. After the game, we have Giannis remarking upon the incident.
Hezonja dunked and then he stepped over you. Does that bother you?
Oh, yeah. I'm punching him in his nuts next time.
Yep, that'll. I mean,
you have a particular position on these matters, don't you?
Well, I also have a position on you putting your whatchamacallums in my face. Like, these are kind of warring notions to a degree. I understand exactly where Giannis is coming from. I also understand where Freaky Greeky is coming from on this, because if I'm not mistaken, that's all the points that dude scored in that game.
Yes.
He scored 2 points the whole damn game. You gonna step over me, a legitimate NBA superstar? Sure.
This is a real catch-22 for you, or I guess a catch-2, technically, thinking about the targets involved.
It ain't even really a catch. You put him in somebody's face, it's wide open.
But Mario Hezonja is the it of the Knicks. Thank God for a guy with disproportionate swagger despite having no real
production. I don't know what that means. Coming up next, is Wilder Fury really a draw?
Freudian.
Mentioned New York Giants. You did not make our show for us to discuss how with every win you actually lose.
Odell Beckham Jr.'s pass, though, man. He stutter-stepped and threw with one hand. That was more athletic than anything I've ever seen Eli Manning dream of doing.
Best passer on the team.
Ugh. Today's number, 2. That is how many times Tyson Fury got up after Deontay Wilder knocked him all the way down. Did this fight feel like a draw to you?
I mean, it doesn't matter if it felt like a draw to me, right? Maybe it was, maybe it was not. What it was the literal best-case scenario for the sport of boxing, right?
That's right.
It was a fight that people enjoyed. It was a fight that had a somewhat controversial ending. Oh, my God. Yes. And guess what? Now we got enough for the rematch. And I'm now interested in the rematch. I was on the fence about this fight. I'm ready for the next one.
I was on the fence before this fight happened, but then we had the formula as we watched Deontay Wilder almost decapitate this giant gentleman. We had the formula that always pays off. You start with some bad blood, you get the pushing and shoving at the weigh-in, and then when the fight comes around, you get a real suspicious judge from, in this case, Mexico, to judge this 115 to 111 Deontay Wilder. All of which just lines the pockets of everybody associated with the sport that we thought was dead.
But I'm fine with that. Who are these people that actually think boxing is dead, though?
Even
people love to bring up that point. Big boxing matches are still the biggest thing going. You barely even heard of these dudes, and now we care.
I once met Vern Troyer at the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. In closing, I'd like to introduce you to the impressive acrobatics of the man who calls himself the Gator Crusader. Let's watch.
Want to get these people? Yeah, I don't trust you. Okay.
Where is it?
This is in Orlando, Florida.
Ooh, they're all like right below me. Ooh.
That is a swing.
Looks like a bad idea.
That is about 11 games, and that is how this video ends. I don't know what happens after here, but this
they told me earlier that the dude was okay, which I honestly think is just something we're telling ourselves.
Yeah, I can't verify that, but
I mean, because honestly,
Sure.
if he's okay, then this trick wouldn't have been nearly as impressive as I thought in the first place. Because, I mean, it looks like it's guaranteed not okay.
But you want another trick? Let's show Bomani Jones another trick from the Gator Crusader.
Why would you? Whoa.
That is a man with a hot dog in his mouth,
Why are you?
and that is an alligator.
Whoa.
There's
Whoa.
more of this. I didn't realize we had multiple hot dog videos.
Yo, let me tell you how wild this whole Florida thing is, right?
Yes.
People in Louisiana are watching this, and they're like, I knew this wasn't us.
That's right.
And that's people from Louisiana.
Yeah, people who have like a Tigers hanging around football games are like, nah.
Oh, I'm not talking about people that come close to no college. In closing, Bulls fired Fred Hoiberg. That was a reminder for me that John Paxson runs the basketball operations up there, and a chance to pull your coach to something you may not have seen. Paxson, since he was in the NBA, and he looked like this. Remember this? This is what John Paxson looked like when he was in the NBA.
Of course.
Floppy-haired. Look at the great fundamentals on that chest pass. This is what he looks like now, right here. In this picture, he looks like the only thing he's missing is one of the briefcases that's hard on the outside, right? Like he's about to negotiate the fate of the world with a comic book hero.
He looks like he is being chased by Liam Neeson.
Yeah, no. Like he got out of the league and was like, you know what? I want the new me. I'm growing some facial hair. I guess he had to come on home, so he came home. That's the NBA, by the way. Well, even the white dudes are like, I got to come all the way home.
I last saw him on a 92 Upper Deck basketball card. Did not expect him to become a guy.
And the dude who reportedly had a physical altercation with a coach once. Didn't see that coming, but that guy looks like he would. Coming up next, highly questioned.